What's going on, everyone? And welcome to another episode of Carbonite Bounty BS with me and the nerds. How's everyone doing this week?
Good, excellent, cool.
Oh, doing so
Disney
great.
rock.
Good stuff, man. And
Nice.
finally the time has come. The time has come to get back to the content we so graciously wanted. I mean,
The BS.
yeah,
Put the carbonite in the BS,
It does definitely for sure. Carbonite in the BS. That's a good one. The carbonite in the BS, but it really is. I mean, just getting started. Before you get into initial reactions, because we will do basically a double reaction to episode 1, season 3, which is I guess chapter 17. So they're kind of dually layering it, and then also we'll do the season 2, episode 11 review of Bad Batch as well. But getting back to this, just before we even get into reviews, I mean, this is like breathtaking. I know we discussed like kind of getting back into it, and I don't know, maybe it's just like the giddiness I have, but like watching the Mandalorian, I'm like itching for another Star Wars movie. I don't think I wanted one, but watching it, I'm like, like I kind of like want another movie now. Like
based on, I wanted 2 episodes. I wanted a double drop like they did with some of the others.
Nah, they're smart. I know what they did, and I know why they did it.
Nobody knows why they did it. Only the mouse knows why they did it.
If they didn't have Bad Batch, they would have did it. I mean, think about runtime. The reason they did it because they cut it down to like 36 minutes, and then they did Bad Batch like 23. If they did The Mandalorian around 48 to 50, there is just no way. It's almost overloaded. It kills one show. So I kind of get it why they drip fed us. And the funny part is, as we get into it, is literally the trailer was the first episode. So what more to look forward to, right? I love how they do that. This ultimate sidebar. Marvel kind of did it for the most part in a lot of their trailers, but I mean, they literally drip fed us. Literally, the whole first episode was 90% of the trailers we saw. So, yeah, let's just get into it, guys. As far as our we'll start with Mandalorian. So, we'll start with you, Hits. I mean, what were you thinking?
Yeah, so I mean, I really, really enjoyed this premiere, and you're right. We've been waiting for it for a long time. I mean, it feels like forever since we even saw these characters, and that wasn't even in Mandalorian season 2. That was in like a side project that they kind of came on board for. So I was super excited to see them. I'm glad that we got to see the Naboo fighter, flex its muscles a little bit. I really enjoyed that. They're really going to great lengths to create Epcot Star Wars on Navarro. And like you can just tell, like you're going to be there. They're going to build it, maybe in Florida, unless things get crazier there, but probably in Florida. You're going to be able to go to that place and see all that stuff. That robot chopping stuff up, that's going to exist in real life, and I'm here for it for sure. I loved it. It was great to see Grogu. I'm glad that Mando's reminding everybody that that's his name. It's Grogu. And look, we got another one of those mega hunts. You know what I mean? I love those mega hunts. They're like my favorite thing. So for me, Mando season 3 premiere delivered. Could it have been longer? Yeah, but it makes sense to cut the story where they cut it. So I'm fine with
it. So I had a question. Like, Bo-Katan was just like chilling in the castle, like just waiting. She was just waiting for Din Djarin to like show up. Thought that was a little loose on the. Little loose on the storyline. I don't think she would have just been chilling there with a leg up, like
doing something.
Yeah, I lost Darksaber and everyone left.
Right.
Like that was a little soft for me because so that's why I wanted more after that. So a double drop to me would have been perfect for this. But I second Steel City. What said this was a great beginning of the season. I really what really gets me as a super fan is that they keep hearkening back to the trilogy. So Grief is like Lando, like welcome to Cloud City, come on. So to me, the first time I watched it, I thought, man, he's a little sketchy. Like, what's he doing? Like, why is he trying to get Mando off the track, off the mission? Why is he trying to get him to like get roots? and live on this planet with him. He's going to give him this whole parcel, and here you can live fat of the land, and very Lando Calrissian, very smarmy. But as I watched it like 3 or 4 more times, plus Andor, because I guess they kept suggesting it at the end of the
recommendation, a vicious recommendation.
Anyway, so but great episode, a lot of cool stuff. IG-11, I didn't catch it till the third watch, but he's standing on a bunch of stormtrooper helmets. I thought that was cool. I mean, you guys got it the first time, but
that either.
I was like, this statue is phenomenal and definitely a apex of the episode. Like, this is what we need to see, because this ends up being his new drive. He's got to get IG-11 back because it's the only droid that he trusts to protect him on Mandalore. So that's the apex of the episode, when you see the statue of IG-11 and then the turmoil of him trying to get it rebuilt. No, we need a memory chip and blah, blah, blah. Now that's the next mission. So, I really like the way the story's going. Like I said, I thought Greef was a little smarmy. I like the throwback to Dune, like, what was she doing? Oh, well, she's now, the way they wrote her out, she's off the Imperial
she's
military. She's in the Imperial military.
She's busy. That's where she is.
She's retired military. Now she's reactive military.
Which is a good place for her, because she was far too aggressive for this storyline for, I think, the general audience. But, definitely like the way things are going. Grogu, super cute, using the Force to get an M&M. Loved it. Very nice touch. So very E.T., kind of like throwback to Spielberg era, with the Reese Pieces and aliens like small little candies. Pretty cool. A lot of call outs to even Salacious Crumb in the trees. I mean, it was bad enough to know there was one. Now there's like 12. I mean, what's up? But every time they do that, they pull me in a little further. So it's a win for me.
Yeah, the episode was very, very good. The open episode, I thought it was like a flashback or something. Okay, what are we seeing here? We're seeing them induct the young child into, like, the Mandalorian ways on, Mandalorian ways. So we see like the whole ceremony and everything. So I'm like, okay, what is this, a flashback? Is that like, Mando when he was younger? No. And then we get like the alligator creature just coming up. And I thought that was just phenomenal. I thought that was such a great way to start the episode. I mean, just get in. The money was in those scenes and everything. You're getting like the whole shots of like this big alligator thing just eating, and they were like it was pretty vicious. It was, some crazy stuff going on there, and they couldn't really, handle that until Mando came about, to the rescue with, baby Grogu. Yeah, I just thought that whole sequence was just great. I love seeing like the Mandalorian. I love the shape of their helmets. I love just seeing them just acting their ways and everything, from like, Clone Wars to Rebels to, to this. I'm just a big Mandalore fan, period. So, the episode, just continues on with, just to touch on what you were saying about Greef there, Ken. So yeah, he was acting a way. He wanted, to get Mando off his track because he needed backup.
Yeah.
He needed somebody to come in there and sort of do like, some enforcement and everything. So of course he wanted Mando to stay, and camp out there and everything, because that's, he has those pirates and stuff that he has to deal with and everything. So that whole sequence makes sense. We'll get into more as far as the episode itself, but the whole overall feel of it felt like a Star Wars movie. It felt like it could have been expanded to something. Yeah, you could see this like on big screen, and with big special effects and with the creatures and everything that little creatures that we see. It was definitely where we were coming up from off Andor, the last live action show they did, to this. It's just so great that it all takes place in the same universe, So to me, like I said, it's all big one big story. We're seeing more of a shift in tone with Mandalorian versus what we have in Mandor, but it's still all the same thing, Even to to like the Bad Batch, it's still all the same thing to me, But but yes, really great episode. Love seeing Bo-Katan in there. She was chilling a little too much. I thought that was like, yeah, right. Why is she? It's a cool pose, and I love Katie Sackhoff. She's never a sight for sore eyes and everything. So just watching her just chill instead of actually doing something, it was a little okay.
Weird.
Yeah, a little weak, the weak part of the episode. Have her doing something. She's not just going to be sitting up there waiting for him like she knows he's coming. Right. Okay. But other than that, I'm excited. I'm anticipating our adventures on Mandalore this season.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, and I have the same feelings as you guys as well. Like, I really enjoyed it. I didn't find any sore spots in it. Even the Bo-Katan thing. That's just foreshadowing, and all it is. Obviously, and you can tell in the tone of her voice that she knows there's something else involved. So I think she was just leading them on. Was she sitting there? Maybe not. Keep in mind though, she's on not even a deserted Mandalorian planet, which was cool. That the fact that I guess in their star system there are other planets where they're Mandalorians. So they kind of alluded to that. So maybe she knew he was coming, or at least seen him from a distance, maybe with some radar detection. So I think she's leading on a little more than she's saying by her saying like, "Oh, I'm all alone. Everybody deserted me." She has security there. She had an attack droid as soon as he landed. So, yeah, that just lets you know that there's a lot more there. But just kind of leading into the episode, I just like how the show is written. We discuss it. The style of this, it's written like and they say it, these quests, right? It's written like a video game. And then they lay it out the first episode. The main mission, him to redeem himself. What's the first side quest? We need to get IG-88 a memory chip. So they lay the show down, and I just wish that maybe that's what we were expecting 10 episodes ago in Bad Batch, instead of just kind of just random, you know what I mean? Just random.
But wait, this episode tied it together a little bit.
It did.
So
it ties the universe together. But let's just getting into the discussion of the meat of this episode. How about the introduction of the episode after the intro? Right. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was the Edra Bridger, the Ahsoka tie-in, right? So we saw the space whales.
The space whales,
which are obviously hyperspace travelers. In my mind, I'm thinking like in my mind, because the timeline isn't this timeline. What if this time lines up to when Ezra and Thrawn have thrust into hyperspace to go to the unknown regions?
Those were actually space whales.
Well, I don't know if they're in space.
Sure, seem like space whales or space worms, but
those squid things, that can hyperspace travel.
Space squids.
Squiddies.
Yeah. So whatever they use, those squid type whales, they call them space whales. But yeah, the hyperspace traveling things that Ezra and Thrawn flew into, that's what Grogu had seen. So that was like an Easter egg, or as DP calls it, Chekhov's space whale. So Chekhov's space whale. Right. So that was like the thing that caught me off the bat, that they really threw that in there, which is foreshadowing obviously hyperspace travel, which can then tie into whatever, because as we know in this show, there's always a big cliffhanger that's going to be somewhere down the line. But yeah, where do you guys want to lead into? This episode to me is phenomenal. There's just so much. It's one of those things I can just watch over and over again.
Yeah, and you do, right?
You do. I'm already 3 times into it. I think it was 4.
Yeah.
So
I really want to talk about the Babu Frank scene and about how that was such great comic relief. And it's so great to see those characters, and maybe the best thing of the whole sequel trilogy right there, showing up here in the Mandoverse. So I feel like you gotta love that.
You mean the pirates?
No, the
little,
yeah.
Oh, the Azalians.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was a whole new character.
Well, from the sequel trilogy.
Well, yeah, sure,
right,
but it's
right.
new. It's the same guy, pretty much.
Right. New to this series. Yeah, they were pretty, but they weren't. They didn't evolve quite. They were kind of in and out. Like, I don't know. I guess we're gonna see them again, but yeah, they were pretty cool. I thought you were gonna talk about the pirates. Actually, like pirates, avast! Like these, Gamorrean, not Gamorrean, but they have these these pirate dialects, and like DP said, the Swamp Thing, like he was like, "Arg, I got you in my sight." You know, I expected
like, got pants on, yeah,
you know, like we're Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, they really ran with the pirate theme, which is pretty cool. I mean, pirates should be pirates. They should have peg legs and parrots on their shoulders and eye patches and have that. And he even said it. "Avast, go after that guy. We'll bring him to the captain." It was great. It was really great.
I just think that like if that is Epcot Star Wars, then you know they're just trying to save some money on having those Pirates of the Caribbean just walk around. It's just easier for them to do it that way. You know, repurpose, and it's just fine.
Yeah, pretty much. They would not let go of the fact that school wasn't a bar anymore.
It's a school. Well, we want a drink in there. But it's a school.
Yeah.
Whoa, we want some liquor. Let's find some liquor over here where I have liquor. No. In fact,
I want it here.
In fact, I think it's worth 4 people's lives. Wow. And then I'm gonna act like I want revenge when I was just stupidly spending that. Like I don't know.
Threatening children. Threatening children is what you were doing.
Yeah.
I also got a real Star Fox vibe from the pirates. I just was thinking like, Mando, do a barrel roll.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, the star fight was even nice. I mean, it was just this episode encompassed so much in so little time, right? Because it was like 36 minutes. And this is one of the first episodes I don't think I even looked at the time until it was over. Like usually I'm like, I hope it's shorter.
Yeah, and
I just let it go.
It was a good 36 minutes. I mean, every single minute in there was chock full of something. There wasn't a dull moment.
They didn't really waste a lot. Now when I look at so there's a thing with, if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, you're just totally confused on where we left off last season with Luke and Luke taking Grogu off, and all of a sudden just where did this? How did they get back together and everything?
Get back, right?
So I think it's kind of hilarious how that I guess the casuals now. I mean, I can now say the casuals need to make sure that they're watching everything in order to get their fulfill of everything.
Listen to this guy.
Wow.
Listen to this guy.
Wow.
Shouldn't they have put that detail in the recap or no?
They did put they put a little bit of it, but they didn't put the fact that it happened on the Book of Boba Fett.
No, they did, right.
Themes, from the Book of Boba Fett in there, but it was as if it was read, okay, well, this happened on Mandalorian last season. No, it didn't, Right. So, yeah, I just thought that was just like, straight up hilarious. So all you casuals out there, make sure that you go check out the Book of Boba Fett where you get more content. So Disney wants you to subscribe. Get more content. Casuals, step up your game.
Now, what do they recommend at the end of Book of Boba Fett? What do they recommend you watch? Ander.
Of course, yeah.
I'm glad you're here to follow orders, Ken.
Hey, the algorithm is there for you to follow there.
Yeah, it's easier that way.
It's easier to follow algorithm. That's what we all pretty much follow nowadays. Algorithms.
Autoplay's turned off for me. I'm not doing that. We're done.
Why do you think? Do you think they're not going to record your viewing habits if you don't put that on? They're recording them. They're recording them. How else will your chatbot, fueled personal assistant know what to put on for you when you say put something on?
Right.
They don't mean put something on. They mean put something on. Right.
Of course.
To watch.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, the overall episode was just great. I'm excited for everything Mandalorian based, and I know Dave Filoni. It's just Jon Favreau. He directed and wrote this episode, so I was kind of like surprised that Dave didn't have a lot to do with
what's crazy as you're saying that?
Yeah,
Dave's only in 2 episodes. He's actually out at the Mandalorian really right now.
Oh, really? Okay, so he must be concentrating more or less on Ahsoka, huh? Oh, I mean, I'm surprised. I'm good with that, Yeah. So Dave pretty much gave John, his.
This is Filoni. This is all Favreau's things, yeah.
Yeah. He gave instructions. Okay, because Mandalore, I feel that's Dave Filoni's thing. You know, he gave all the instructions on how he wanted things to be, and Favreau was pretty much just following directions and everything, for the most part. But the thing with Favreau, he knows how to tell a visual story, in like live action. So I mean, I trust his. It's so good also just to hear the Mandalorian theme back again. When the episode ends, you just get those da 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 da. It's just so Star Wars vibe. Like I said, it feels just so much like a movie, like on screen and everything, that you can actually go into like the show and see. I know I repeated this over, but I was really enthusiastic about seeing live action Star Wars again. That was just like a great thing to actually see. Andor, it was great. Andor was great. But it left us on
I watch it a lot.
Of course, after every episode. But it left us on a sort of like a downbeat, whereas this sort of like picked up, and you got the tone, you got like Mando just doing his thing with Grogu. One thing, okay, I'll be the bad guy here. Grogu to me can be a little Omega.
A little combative, isn't he?
No, I think I know what DP's
wants to take over. He's like,
oh, I know where DP's going, because I'm the same way as well. I'd actually want less of Grogu, but yeah.
I know that's not what the casuals want, since I'm no longer casually like that. Yeah.
No.
But Grogu. I mean, he's cute. Okay, I like him doing his the Force thing, and him getting the M&M and stuff in his mouth. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. But the cut scenes to him reacting, and okay, I know he's in the show, guys. Let me concentrate on what Mandalorian Din Djarin is doing, and not have so much of Grogu. That's just me personally. And I've said it before on this show and everything. Grogu is not my favorite character. Maybe a lot of other people's favorite, but I could have more. I have less of him and more of the Mandalorian.
You know what it is, though?
Marketing department ran with Grogu, though.
Yeah.
Oh, my God!
Yes,
my daughter, like I would say, 50% of the time is wearing some Grogu merch at any. It's 50-50 shot at any given time that's what it is.
I had a stuffed one, but I'm sure my dogs are running around with it somewhere on the floor. But no, I totally agree with you on the Grogu thing. I think the whole Omega thing is like almost we were introduced to him so young, but the way they aged, I would expect him to be a little older. And now the fact that this is a little bit of a time jump, so he trained with Luke for a while. As DP's saying, I just think the maturity level. And obviously, they're trying to draw young fans in, so they're doing kind of the younger theme stuff. But I would expect him to have, with the Jedi training he has now, a little bit more like, it's just a little more, not really adolescence, but I guess kind of, a little more maturity, I guess is a word, to his mannerisms. Just a little bit more. I understand like the humor and whatnot, but as DP says, it kind of like takes away from not really the seriousness, but you know what I mean? Like it's gritty, right? And I'm into it. And then there's like this like Grogu comic humor part that's kind of like it doesn't fit for me.
Right.
It might fit for the kids, but not for me.
But isn't this species so? Yoda was 900 years old, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know how.
Grogu's still like 2 years old. I mean, they age a lot slower than regular, time. And I think I brought this up, like time, the way time runs in Star Wars is way different than the way time runs in our life.
Right.
So,
Grogu.
Please
he's
go
never
on.
been to school. He hasn't even been to pre-kindergarten yet.
And I have to ask you to tell me your theory of Star Wars time, please. Because I feel like we both agree on how time works.
Yeah, we agree on how time works here, but time in the Star Wars universe does not run the same way as time. I mean, because it opens up a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Well, that could have been 10 minutes ago, or that could have been 2 years ago. We don't know. Time runs differently. It's like, even when they said Bad Batch, like the last episode of Bad Batch, which we all loved. So literally from when they had the ship stolen, they got trapped in the mine, they got pulled into the water. That was only a day. That was one day. That seemed inconceivable to me, how that whole adventure happened in one day. So what's a day? A day could be 24 hours. A day could be 48 hours. A day could be half a year. Who knows? There is no quantum physics in Star Wars. It just doesn't compute. You even look at the way the spacecrafts run. I mean, you've got spaceships that look like hamburger containers. That would never fly. It would, no pun intended. The Millennium Falcon would not fly in our reality. It just wouldn't work. It would just explode. It would fall in on itself. There's no way it would work. But it can when you don't have time or physics or really anything to run on. Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying. So Grogu might be immature to us, but he might be already a teenager in his.
So he's sort of like I am Groot. You know how whatever Groot is aging. You know,
whatever that thing was. Yes,
but that still doesn't make sense based on we know with Order 66 and where we are to now, and then the time jump, right? So as Hitch is saying, it's not. It might necessarily be on a 365-day time scale, but it's kind of close to the way we measure time because based on what happened in the events then to now, and that's what I'm saying. Kind of like DP, like there has to be a little more maturity in some of these characters, and I know they do it to draw.
I think you need to give Grogu a little bit more to do than just be there and be cute.
Yeah, I mean, he's trained now, and he's just like touching M&Ms. Come on.
Well, there is a scene in the trailer which we haven't seen yet, where he actually throws some beast out of a cave and saves.
We'll get to that, but Hitch wants to give a pro Grogu comment here.
Now, I get what you guys are saying. He's not some Mary Sue. You know, it's not like I don't think he's leaning on everybody with the Force. I don't think he was leaning on the armor there to make her like twisting her arm a little bit with the Force, make her do whatever. But you know what? I want to fall asleep to a video that's just 45 minutes of Grogu and that hyperspace. Just Grogu enjoying hyperspace from this angle and this angle and this angle and this angle, just over and over. I would fall asleep to that right now. If Disney put that out right now, I would put it on false.
I can see that as like a what they call those long form, videos that on YouTube that they play all the time. Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the scene where Chancellor Palpatine is telling Anakin about the Darth Plagueis, things that are unnatural, and they're at that ballet, and the creatures are sort of floating around in the air. It was very, very hypnotic, that scene. Like I could watch that scene over and over again. The way he's sort of enticing Anakin to listen to him and the dark. Yeah, see.
I see. Ken is looking very Palpatine-ish.
Yeah,
it's his hat. Oh no.
It is
very Sith-ish right now.
These are unnatural. We can manipulate life and death.
Oh, geez, Emperor Palpatine. I don't know about all that. I'm just here to watch the opera.
Watch the ballet and educate myself.
That was kind of like Rick and Morty, you know. Oh, I know. See, you guys love. I know y'all guys love that. The Mando, Pat Mahomes shovel pass to Grief with Grogu. That was just hilarious. That was smooth.
Grief. And he caught him.
He caught him. Hey, I mean that's Pat Mahomes right there,
Yeah.
And then Grease like, I thought you were getting rid of this thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're still following this thing around. Why? You got the little guy, Grogu. What did you say?
Huh? What?
His name is Grogu. What? All right. He's like, all right, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, maybe so. Like I said in the beginning, my initial review, I thought Grief was a little bit sketchy. Like the way he came off, he was a little bit, I'm the magistrate, the high magistrate. You don't get that wrong.
He has a position. He wants to be respected now.
He wants to be respected, right?
He wants to be respected.
Last time he and Mando were together, they were business partners. I mean,
yeah, I mean, he was shady then, but I mean, look what he built and grew, to this point and everything. So I think what we're supposed to see is that everything on display is,
and he's turned over a new leaf.
Yeah, and he's built up this community and everything that changed from what we saw like the last time and everything. So
let's see how he looks in episode 5. Or I guess that would be episode 20.
Chapter 22, yeah.
Yeah, 22, 23. Let's see what he looks like.
I just hope they don't do that because I like Grief, so I don't want to see that happen. But
yeah,
I'm okay
not saying I don't like the character.
Okay,
I'm just saying he's part of the storyline and he's going to move things in a certain way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
don't think so. I mean, Hitch, you can give us a history lesson, right? About, these daimios who come into power. That, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Every leader who comes into power has to have a little bit of snake in them, right?
Well, they say that it's a lot harder to govern than it is to conquer. Right. And so Grief is finding that out the hard way. I mean, it's the same problem Boba Fett was faced with in history in the book of Boba Fett, where he was trying to be, not a scummy
and not take over, right?
Yeah, for what reason I don't know. But hey, that's neither here nor there, and we didn't write it. We don't have to defend
because it was only 5 episodes and then turned back into Mandalorian. So it doesn't even matter.
Thank God.
Please, yeah.
I mean, even with all those flashbacks, 5 episodes was too many. So to me, I just think, what the heck were we talking about? Ken, you distracted me so hard there. Man.
The back to tank.
I'm trying to talk about history here. So yeah, there's a lot of examples in like the American West of someone that would roll into town as like a badass and then, sort of end up as the governor. That would happen a lot. So this is, pretty standard. I think most of the history of Australia is essentially this happening, where you had a bunch of disreputable folk shipped to a place, and then all of a sudden they found out they could raise sheep there, and they started being prosperous. That's pretty much the story of Australia. Don't quote me on that. Please don't tell an Australian I said any of that stuff. But basically, yeah, there is a history of this stuff happening where, eventually you have to go legit. And sometimes people don't want you to go legit. They want to do things the outlaw way. But if you're, the governor, you can't have friends that are cattle rustlers. You just can't. It wouldn't work out.
Right.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second.
Well, no, that makes total sense. So what does that mean? Like, are we hoping that Grief is beyond that? Like, has he transcended that stereotype? And can he be better than anybody else in history that has ever done this? Ever.
Well, we'll see. 7 episodes to go.
Sketch. Right. Very sketchy. I mean, I think they did it on purpose, because the minute he walked off the stairs and he was totally, I mean, I thought I was watching Empire Strikes Back.
So like, I want to say this, like, and you don't have to say anybody's names. I'm not asking that, but like, you guys, everybody knows like the big boss where they work, right? Like everybody has their own big boss where they work. That's Grief on this planet, and he's just walking around with this guy hauling his droid around, like talking to his pet Yoda. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be weird for us to see that. It would be weird for everybody if like, my boss's 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 boss was like, hey, I'm going to be hanging out with this guy all day.
And you don't know who that is.
Right. They've never been around. It'd be weird.
Yeah. But those people do know him. Navarro is very, very familiar to Din Djarin. So a lot of the people that are, buying, spare ribs from this guy, cutting up this droid, and, they're panhandling or they're bargaining over here, know who Din Djarin is, don't they? And they know where Navarro came from. And it's great, this transition, but how long was that timeline? Like, how long was it from when we left it to where it is now? I mean, they made a 180 degree change to the way the city was run. How long did that take? Was that a year, 2 years?
They probably could have did an episode of that on like the Book of Boba Fett to sort of find that out. You know, they could have did
But
that.
first, a scene of Boba in the back of the tank. We zoom in. His face is straining in pain as.
What was that piece of kryptonite that Mandalorian?
Yeah,
I have this short in case he
Kent
comes
was going to
back.
come in there and be like, "Hey, get rid of this." So that's what that crust of Mandalore. That's what it looks like when you vaporize it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Something that's what the armorer said.
DP, do you think that's Chekhov's kryptonite, and we're bound to see Superman now that we've seen kryptonite?
So Disney bought DC, and now
Another
Superman
timeline.
Yeah, bought that timeline. Now he can come in and
he come in
Jedi Knight.
What if they?
Ultimate Jedi Knight.
He doesn't need no lightsaber. He's got heat vision.
He got heat vision. Yeah. He got the ultimate laser swords. You know, laser eyes.
That could be the guy. That's the guy from the what was that Disney movie? That Marvel movie, The Eternals.
Yeah.
The whole movie was the guy running around shooting with eye beams.
No.
Yeah, Stark.
I think literally that was like 3.5 hours of eye beams. That guy, whoever he was.
Yeah.
You loved that, didn't you?
I didn't finish that movie.
The Eternals. I watched it for the A-list actors.
I was just like, that's it. I'm out of here.
Oh yeah, that's another question. Once we get to the Bad Batch and everything, those the troopers and stuff. I want to talk about that. But yeah, I guess we have anything else to talk about as far as this show?
I mean,
it was great.
Yeah,
it was
great.
great.
We talk more about the captain. I know we kind of talked a little bit about the captain, but the pirate captain.
The pirate captain was awesome. Yeah,
you guys had some funny lines. I mean, he looked
Arrgh, like I got you in my sights. Yeah,
give me some
talking
beer.
about Groot, right? I mean, he had like what? He had like foliage for facial hair or something like that. Yeah. And he was so easily foiled by like a
quick
fast. Like what was he gonna do? He just flew away. Like that's one thing about Star Wars that I've been noticing. There's a lot of times where people are just like, well, I guess we'll just fly away, and they just do, and it's like it's kind of no problem
because time has no control over this universe, and there's no physics.
There you go.
I mean, but like just fly away.
I do want to say, supporting Ken here, a laser blast should probably move at the speed of light. And these laser blasts and bolts that we see definitely move significantly slower than that.
Significantly slower than light.
So I feel like at a certain point, maybe there's something to what Ken's saying.
There he is. 100%.
A little bit.
Just love it.
This has been an episode of Ken Theory Corner of Time.
Right. Well, I mean, the guy shows up in like a First Order Dreadnought ship, right? And then he's got some little like cruiser, some Nabooan modded cruiser with like a Mustang 5.0 engine in it.
With a little green guy in the back?
Right, like, yeah, so I get it when he shows up in some giant.
Yeah, he doesn't even have an astromech. He just got a little Grogu in the back. Like, doing what? Nothing.
And the guy plots, now we know he plots hyperspace jumps on himself. Like, think about it. Luke and everybody, like you said, an astromech would plot it and would do it. As he's flying the ship, he literally tells Grogu, like, I'm going to teach you. So this guy's, like, manually controlling the whole time. But then he falls asleep, so I was just like, oh, okay. Kind of awkward, but hey.
I like the reference where you planned your hyperspace jumps based on how much fuel you had. Like, that's all it was. Like, if you had this much fuel, you could get here. That's it. You're done, then you got to get more fuel. So there was a little bit of reality. I thought that was where they grounded the whole fantasy world, because it was based on how much fuel you had. You couldn't just go jumping all over the place. Like, I'll say it, Star Trek, super unrealistic. I mean, they could jump wherever they wanted, however many times. They never stopped to fuel. You never like talked about fuel in any of those jumps. But Star Wars and
Star Trek rules are like the Nautilus, or like, you know what I mean? It's like those nuclear subs that never have to go anywhere because they just have enough uranium to last forever.
Right. You never had to like worry about it. You could just jump wherever you wanted. But in Star Wars, you had limitations. You had fuel concerns. You had Bad Batch. What did Tech had to do? He had to put the alternate power to that ship to get it back online. I mean, there's always like actual physical things that you might have to do to get something done. So I think we should talk about Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Because this episode, this last one, I mean, it was great. It was a great episode, and a lot of similarities. So Mandalorian had a giant creature that was almost unstoppable. Bad Batch had a creature that was cloned by the Emperor for a weapon, and also unstoppable, except they knew how to stop it, which that was the only thing I didn't like about this episode. Like, what weapon did they have to use on this creature to subdue it? They never explained that. So
very, very Godzilla-like, in its movements and actions and everything. So
yes,
the Zilla monster.
Yeah,
it was a super Zillo beast. Yeah.
Well, that's what they called it, T-Man. They called it a Zilla monster.
Is that what they called it? Okay.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Yep, a brand new original creation.
Right. And they said, well, why did they clone that? It was the Emperor. That was his last directive to the Kaminoans to clone this thing for weapon use.
I love like how they react to. I always love character reactions to stuff that that we sort of like are privy to, but the characters are just now reacting and seeing what's going on. So they're reacting. Okay, so why did, instead of killing the creature, why are they taking it?
Yes.
And they, what are they about to do and everything? So so there's a mystery that our heroes are really about to set upon to try to like solve and everything. And we got the Kaminoans and everything. I can't pronounce.
No, that was Omega did that. And for the life of me, I don't know why she has to say everything different than anybody else is saying it. I can't even say it. Kaminoans.
Yeah.
Kaminoans.
She was saying something, but just Kaminoans would be the pronunciation if it was even that. But no, it was strange. It was cool. I mean, the tie-in to me that hooked me on both episodes was the fact that the payoff from the destruction of their planet was Palpatine getting rid of their cloning facility, but then mobilizing it to the space, which is what we saw in last season of Mandalorian with Dr. Pershing and what they were doing. So now you understand that the alternate payoff is going to be for both of these series what happens to the cloner, right? Because now that whatever he was, the mayor, has Omega, which is some kind of connection to her over her head. That's really the payoff, right? What's going to happen with Omega, and that I just think the way they put these episodes together and tied in the cloning and that they mobilized it to space, and we saw in Mandalorian. I know we alluded to this, but Omega is like looming here somewhere in this whole kind of.
Yeah.
She's gonna fit in. She's gonna fit in
looming
somewhere.
in these shows. Yeah, in both of these shows.
What are the troopers called now? Who are those troopers?
Clone commandos.
Science troopers.
Yeah, the toys are listed as commandos.
So we're still trying to find out how this new military is created, and they're not going to be clones, but it sounds to me like they're going to clone weapons, right? They're not going to clone the military because they figure that's been done. We don't like the way that went, but they can clone weapons. So here's this creature that they can not only extract armor from and make stormtrooper armor out of,
Hopefully
whatever.
They're not doing that.
What?
Hopefully you're not doing that, making stormtrooper armor.
Well, the stormtroopers were pretty fierce in A New Hope.
Yeah, I mean, they just fell off from there.
Well, they went downhill like Empire Strikes Back and kind of. And then Return of the Jedi, they were loosey goosey.
They got beat by a bunch of teddy bears in that movie.
But in A New
loosey
Hope,
goosey is right.
Stormtrooper armor was undefeatable. I mean, those guys they hardly ever went down. But anyway, I mean, I think we're still going to see we still need to see how they build the new army, the Imperial Army, because we haven't seen that yet. And I think Bad Batch is starting to allude to how they're going to do that. I think the cloning is all weapons, like weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. And who is this new guy that we got? The new bad guy? The new
Hemlock.
Well, Hemlock is before he's pre Dr. Pershing, so he's essentially who Dr. Pershing. I'm guessing Hemlock dies at some point, and Dr. Pershing takes over.
What a great name for a doctor of evil, Hemlock.
Right.
Consuming your own risk.
Yeah. That's perfect. He's named after poison. Wow, great.
But no, I mean, I kind of look at it differently. I don't think they're using it from weapons of mass destruction. I mean, this opens the whole, like, with them taking the whole Camino and technology. I mean, this makes, I mean, especially when they talk about the Emperor doing these secret experiments and then having it mobilized in space. Now we saw the sequel trilogy and we find the fact that they're taking Force sensitive children. This makes the thought process of EU Star Killer being a reality now, of them taking, because they're going after Grogu not only for the being but for the strength in the Force, right? The strength and the ability, whether it be midichlorians or however they measure, Force ability in someone. This makes Star Killer a reality now, right? That you created a clone that's stronger than any living being. So I think
it's going to be a hybrid though, because they're gonna like the Dark Troopers. Or the,
I don't know. I mean,
if you're Palpatine and you can come back in a human body or this, I mean, which one is more robust and likely to sustain you forever? I mean, this thing is ridiculous. It's a beast, literally.
Yeah.
I'd want both. I'd want Force and mechanical pieces, cyborg, some sort of strength, strong, like we got in Dark Trooper. The Dark Troopers were scary because they flew. They were very hard to destroy, to kill. They thought 12 steps ahead of you. Yeah. I mean, they were definitely, they were hard to kill in the video game anyway.
They were very Terminator-esque.
Yes. Yeah. And I think if you jammed a little bit of Force in there, a little bit of Force attunedness, so they could, that would be the chess aspect. So they could see several steps ahead of whatever opponent they were fighting. You've got a pretty good army.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the bigger question we all have is like, I mean, kind of bringing this full circle and kind of wrapping up the whole Bad Batch piece is, why did it take till now to get into this, like something like this in depth of the story? Like, we still have not seen really Echo much. We haven't seen Crosshair. Like, no. I'm still kind of
no Crosshair at all. Every time they lingered on some dude that was just standing on a ramp, I was like, no,
right?
Nope,
I'm just
not him.
I just don't know. Like I said, every episode is like its own story. Like, at least with Mandalorian, we've laid out the groundwork of what the season's going to be. And literally, this Bad Batch is like Batman the Animated Series, right? Great series, but it's just isolated episodes, and each go in a different direction. And there's just no general story to it, because they're literally, every episode is like it's some other quest.
They're little one shots.
They're not related at all.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard to follow for me.
But this one brought it back. I think,
it did.
Like what you're saying, brought it back online, and I think we're going to see. So how many are left? Bad Batch, like it's like 16.
Is it 16? Yeah, 5 left.
Something.
5 left. Yeah.
16. Yeah, I think they can. I think they can do. I think they can bring it back.
They don't have much time. They don't have much time.
Yeah. So I mean, if whatever thing that you're talking about, Ken, they definitely don't have enough time to do that. No. And I'm sort of disappointed that this episode didn't come earlier in the season. Like, it should have been like the 4th or 5th episode. This should have been like the whole season, whatever they were trying to do. But I'm sure they're going to have some sort of, regrets on what they tried to do this season with this second season. And I just hope with what they're introduced as far as these, further mysteries, that it just takes the rest of the season for us to dig into it.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think this is, based even on viewership and what you're hearing in the stratosphere, this might be it for Bad Batch. So it might be one of those things that I I don't see a season three. I mean, man, it's funny. I mean, spoiler alert: Mandalorian's like the new Fast and the Furious. I mean, Favreau said it. Favreau said it on in umpteen interviews. They're already writing season four. There is no end in sight. So he said that this is going to keep going like Fast and the Furious. They're already filming Andor. So yeah, this is. I mean, if guys aren't liking Mando, this isn't stopping. This isn't slowing down. I foresee at least 6 seasons. At
I'm
least 6.
good with that.
And a movie.
Yeah.
It, yeah, we
Sure.
just need to find out what's happening with these movies and stuff. You know,
I'm itching now. I'm itching for
people
more.
are itching for a new Star Wars movie. Like, what is that going to be about? You know,
Redo
Maybe-
the post-quill. Redo that whole first
Whoa,
quill.
whoa! I hope you, out of all people, aren't saying the magic word I use, which is retcon. I hope
No,
somebody like
I
that.
I don't even mean that. I mean just do a
You have to
different one.
retcon.
Yeah.
do a whole different trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah,
that'll be
just on something entirely different. Or,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
would
no
like to
problem.
see the Last Command. I'd like to see the those books, Last Command,
Mhm.
with Admiral Thrawn, thrown in there, because that if you read that book, if you read Return of the Jedi and you read Last Command, they connect. I mean, it definitely feels like a better storyline than what we got, The Last Jedi. I mean, that didn't compute for me, but I still like. I mean, every time I watch it, I like it. It's a good movie. It has.
It's
I
still
do like Adam Driver. I like Kylo Ren. I don't like Ben Solo. What am I going to do?
I like that. You know what? I like to redeem Ben Solo. I hope he's not dead through the Force. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that there has to be a way to bring him back to life. I kind of would like to see another, because there's going to be Ray. I think there has to be another male lead with that as well. I don't think. Well, obviously they'll recast Finn because Boyega's gone for whatever reason, but you know, there has to be a Finn. He's Force sensitive, but yeah, I mean, I'm open to that. Post episode
Redo the
9.
whole thing.
But I mean, we have
Crash
yeah,
his plane, start over.
They can keep those movies, but put them, adjust the timeline a little bit. Like they're on one of these like little offshoots, but I'd like them to do an actual post quill, like that actually tells the story of what happens after Return of the Jedi. Not,
well, I mean, yeah, they can do that though.
Jedi. Aren't
Yeah.
they? Isn't that what they're doing now?
There's some time.
Sort of.
Yeah,
They're
But, I
piecing
mean-
it together, but not on the big screen. They're not doing it in a
yeah.
a big scale. But yeah, you're right, DP. They are doing it now. They're kind of like telling us what happened after the fall of the Empire and how things are sort of restructuring, and what happens. Evil comes back. It comes back anyway.
Yeah. There's a lot of stories with Luke Skywalker, and when you're talking about the books, and we talked about their stories of Luke's. That's when Luke was essentially OP, and he was pulling down he's bringing down starships with the Force and all kind of stuff in this kind of space. But I mean, as you're saying, I think with this Ahsoka series and in the world between worlds, and we see it with the Flash and Reverse Flash and how they're restarting DC by retconning time. And we see Marvel with the multiverse resetting time to then bring characters back. And Star Wars is going to do the same thing with the world between worlds. And I really think that them saying that in the Rebels and bringing that live action with Ahsoka, I think it's going to be.
They better handle it, because that could either be done great or be done just atrociously, where people could be like, okay, Star Wars has jumped the shark.
No, you can.
Yeah,
I think the pump's primed here, man.
That's with Jar Jar Binks. Jump the Jar Jar Binks.
Listen, this is how these religions go. They start out with, the one source, and then they expand out a little bit, and then they get a little too serious, and they get a little too jokey, and then you don't know what's in the canon, and you don't know what's out of the canon, and then maybe you change the stories around a little bit because the first story doesn't really work with the new story. So you have to make some choices here and there. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
That's what's happening.
I'm 100%. I'm open to it. I'm hoping But yeah, as we said, I'm mission for a movie. Seeing how good this stuff is and the content, and really, I guess the new direction of Star Wars with Favreau and Filoni, and the directors they have. Hey, look, they tried a lot. I know before they were letting literally everybody direct episode of The Mandalorian. They've kind of tied it down to with the Rick, Bryce Dallas. I know they let Carl Weathers do one this time, but I mean it's really the same. Maybe 3 or 4 people and sprinkle somebody in rather than in the past. I know they were just like, you get an episode, you get an episode, you get an episode. So I think they're really starting to make that Lucas story group. They're starting to, own that team in. So that way, when we do get that next movie, it's not going to be,
All over the place.
Abrams and this guy and this guy and this guy and your story, your story, your story. So I think, if any time, I think Star Wars now is poised to do a trilogy based on the people in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a traditional thing, Star Wars in this trilogy. So if anything, it's going to go back to that, so it's going to be a group of stories instead of just like one-offs and stuff. Because I think if you do one-off stories in the on the big screen, you've already doing that in like I don't know, so the little
It's just what a movie is. That's not innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Star Wars is, in the movie sense, has been traditionally three sets of movies at a time.
Yeah.
Are they going to call them like episodes 10, 11, 12? I mean,
I don't think they started that way, though. I mean, that wasn't the intention. With George brought Fox, 20th Century Fox, this book. I don't think he intended it to be like these split up things. He was just going to do one and be done. He had no idea. So the idea of the trilogy, I mean.
So how did he decide he wanted to make it episode 4, like the first one?
He wanted it to be like Flash Gordon, and that was like a series of serialized stories where you do, episode 1, and then episode 2 would be next week on the next newsreel. So
right, but they were shorties. They were like 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah, they were just like 20 minutes, and they had terrible effects. But if you didn't go every week, you probably missed one.
Right.
So the sensation he was looking for was, this has been going on. Joining in the middle.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. Sort of give you like a sense of, like, I read this article about he'll never reveal like the Yoda species. He has like a thing about that. So if you're trying to look for like what they're all about and everything, that'll never be revealed or whatever. That's
ever.
We'll see.
Ever. I think it's close. I think
he ain't in charge no more.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I think they're gonna do a whole Yoda series.
Oh, Yoda series.
Yeah, and it'll be 9
Yoda, my home
long.
Species.
None of us will see it ever.
We're not allowed.
We're not even gonna be allowed to see it.
What if they went and Yoda was like a title? You know what I mean? And like their names were super like stuck up, and like, Yoda's real name was like Arthur Fizzybottom or something like that.
Yeah, something British.
Yeah.
Yes, they're all British here.
Get Dan Harmon to write it,
Yoda was just that was the easy name. That was like the short name.
It's just Bob for them.
Yeah, the acronym. Yeah.
So this is Yoda Sampson. This is Yoda Burnett.
Yoda Burnett.
I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of stories going on. I mean, it's funny that The Mandalorian comes out and we forget that, like, they're writing this High Republic story, which is like, 300 years before the prequel trilogy. And they're writing those movies.
Star Wars years or our years?
10 years.
Oh, my.
Whatever unit of measure we use. But, the High Republic was something that they were like... And I guess that's the cool thing about what we discussed with this Mandalorian, that like it takes your eye out of really all the shit that's going on, right? Like, I kind of forget the sequel trilogies,
They never even happened.
Just trying to block it out of your mind.
Just take me to that place where I'm a little baby Grogu in a pod, right, and hyperspace is just flying by me.
And I want an M&M, and I can just take it.
Just show me that again from here and from here and from here and from here.
So, just seeing this episode and how it starts leading into next week, and then, It's crazy. You know,
We
it's
didn't
kind of
even
sad.
talk about Grogu and that hug. You know, that was just hilarious, man. You know, he was like Grogu, no, don't do that.
Don't squeeze the Azalarian. Whatever. No, it's not a toy.
It's not a
It's not a
toy.
toy.
Oh, yeah.
And what a great parent Din Djarin did turn out to be. Very patient.
Yeah, I mean, he's different from what he began. You know, unlike how he is on like The Last of Us. You know,
And I'll tell you, I mean, he's a better parent than I was, because if I was in that situation,
don't sell yourself short there, Ken.
I don't know. It's been rough. It's been rough. And if my kid was starting to like squeeze some little alien droid builder, then I'd lose it. I'd lose it. Don't squeeze the little alien.
No. But yeah, guys, it's been a fun episode. It's great that we can squeeze it in. You know, sorry for the faithful people. I know that Meta has their rules at an hour, but
That's all
you know,
good. Hey, we didn't even shout out all our things that we got so into, like, you know, talking about.
we didn't.
Do
We
it
didn't.
like they do at the end of
DP.
DP.
Yeah.
You have to do it now, like they do when they put a movie on like network TV. Just run it real fast. Go.
Nerdcyclopedia.com. Make sure you go to your favorite website. We're on all your favorite social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also on TikTok. If you listen to podcasts, we're on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, we are there. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. So hit that subscribe button, also that notification button, so anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. If you're watching us on Facebook, join our Carbonac Bounty BS and Star Wars group. You're getting all your favorite memes and all your favorite stuff. Shout out to Tom. And make sure that you are leaving us some feedback. Nerdcyclopedia.com, people. We are there.
Yeah, and look at
Step it up, casual.
It shows you how excited we are that we didn't even do an intro this week. We didn't even give the intro this week because we were that excited for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was.
It's like crack. It's like crack, right?
We're all revved up all day. I think,
Right.
Trent. I think like you. I think when you sent the first, I seen it twice. And it was like 9 a.m.
You was like, yeah, or something like. I was like, yeah. I mean, literally, I stayed up, and I'm not gonna lie, I was falling asleep at like 2:30. I like started dozing off. And I ran in the kitchen, had to grab something to like stay up because I was like, I can't. I'm up until 3:30. What's a half hour? You're like, but you know when you're like deliriously tired, like
I gotta stay up for Mando. I gotta stay up for Mando.
Jonesing, right?
I gotta be there. I can't wait.
Right.
I don't have the script. I gotta know what happened.
But once it comes on, I was just so excited, right? And you watch it, and then you watch it again and again, and skip the suggested content.
Skip Andor.
Skipped Andor, of course. Yeah, I didn't watch Bad Batch. I went to bed after Mandalorian, so sorry, Ken. And no recommended content, but
gotta sleep sometime. You gotta sleep sometime too, bitch.
You do. You gotta sleep. Gotta pay bills. You gotta have energy to do this at night. So, it's fun. It's fun. But any final thing to wrap up, guys? As Ken is pretending to be muted.
Oh no, Ken! Oh,
sorry, guys. Yeah, so can't wait for next week. I mean, Mandalorian's going to be a slam dunk, out of the park. Whatever sports reference you want to do, it's a total touchdown.
I think this season's not going to waste time.
They're going to get right into it because they better after that really weak finish with Bo-Katan. I mean, come on. Din Djarin's like,
I'm just gonna be hanging out, enjoy Mandalorian.
Bye, Din Djarin.
Have a great time. I'll be right here watching TV.
That's exactly what she said.
Yep. I'll be right here.
What did she say?
Once you're done swimming, come back and we'll see how you look.
Where's that laser sword? Did you know that they use nukes? She's like, they nuked that whole planet. You know they nuked it, right? Anyway, have a good time. Crazy kids.
Yeah, you'll have fun swimming in that river I told you about. I
was waiting for her to show Mando the hand and everything. You're not going to understand any of this, buddy. Right. She was chilling. You stay right there. I'll be right here. All right, there we go.
That's it, guys. Another solid week. And hopefully next week, I mean, it'll be a longer Mandalorian episode and more to discuss, as well as Bad Batch, I guess, episode 12. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Until next week, guys, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.